Welcome to The Good Life. Thank you for stopping by. I'm Patrick Harney, proud member of the MPOTS Network. As always, make sure to, like, subscribe, comment, share, hit the notification button so you can be alerted when a new episode comes out. I got a good episode today with a very just cool dude. I mean, he's a really cool guy. His name is Cody Kearsley. He's an actor. You've seen him on Riverdale. You've seen him maybe in the movie Breach. You've seen him in Daybreak on Netflix as well. And yeah, we have a good conversation. We just kind of talk a little bit about life. We talk about his career, and he's just a cool dude. It was a very chill conversation, I think, and it was a good one. Also, just so you know, you have less than a week left to get that 10% off of everything on thegoodlifeshop.co. If you want to get merch, if you want to get t-shirts, sweatshirts, pint glasses, coffee mugs, phone cases, we got it. We got 5 different designs. And and the cool thing about the Patriot design is all the profits that I receive from any of the Patriot designed products will be going to helping veterans and helping support veterans. So make sure to go on there. You got 1 week left using the discount code Good Life. You get 10% off everything. So enough with that. Enough with the housekeeping. Let's get to the show. All right, and we're live. Cody Kearsley, thank you very much for being here, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So I was introduced to you by a friend of mine, Eric. Mr. Bruce Willis himself, pretty much. And I'm telling you, he's been, I mean, he's one of the nicest guys I think I've ever met in my life.
He really is, yeah.
And I've never even met him face to face. Like, we've just done this and texted, right. But I was doing some research on you, and so you're from Canada, correct?
I am, yeah.
British Columbia, right?
Yep, BC. I'm from the Okanagan Valley, which is like the wine capital of Canada.
Hey, okay, all right. Yeah. So I just read I just read a story that came out yesterday, and I read it this morning. That and I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's happening in Canada, and it's happening in British Columbia, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Ontario. But there are over 1,000 doctors, nurses, and just medical professionals that are prescribing like nature.
Yeah, I saw that recently. Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it?
That's so cool. Like, so for all of you who don't know, these doctors are, in an effort to help improve mental health, physical health, they are basically prescribing their patients with a free like annual park pass to national parks.
Yes, to help with their mental health and stress and all that stuff. I mean, that's the best medicine, right? Getting out in nature, fresh air.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is the best medicine. And I think that's awesome. I would love if more, like, I hope that becomes a trend, like all over.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So what's it like, what's it like going from, do you live in Canada now?
I do, yeah. I've been in Vancouver now for the last 6 years. Before that, I was in Los Angeles, and then I grew up in the Okanagan, which I was from a town called Oliver, which is like 3,000 people. So I'm from a pretty small town in rural Canada.
Okay. So when did you move to LA?
When I was 18, right when I graduated, I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here. Oh, can I swear on this? I don't know.
Yes, you
okay,
can. Yes, you can.
Yeah, I was ready to go pretty early on in my life. I couldn't wait to get out to the city.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to perform, right? So I wanted to get somewhere where there was more opportunity.
Okay. Now, in doing that, so what made you leave? What made you go back to Canada?
Visa. I was in the States for 5 years, went to theater school for 3, and then the next 2 years I had a part-time work visa, so I was like working in theater, doing a lot of I was doing some Shakespeare and working with some theater companies down there. And then I was applying for my O1 visa so I could get an agent, start working in film and TV, and it got denied. So I had to move back to Canada.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So how does that work then? Like if you say you were to book a role that's filming in LA or something, like how does that work if you don't?
Yeah, well, for now, because I've worked a couple times in the States in the last few years, and the production will apply for your visa. So I did a show for Netflix, and I got a visa that was specific to Netflix, so I could work with them. I think it was a 3-year work visa, so I could work for Netflix.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it depends on the projects. You can usually every project will apply for a visa. My next one is I'm trying to get like an open-ended visa, so I can kind of just move to the States and work there continuously.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that because of a certain project, or is that just in general?
I just miss LA. I still have a lot of good friends down there, and ideally, I'd like to spend half my time in Vancouver and half my time in LA.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So now I know a lot of TV shows film in Vancouver. Is that still going on, or was that kind of put on pause?
No, we're busy. I mean, everywhere's been put on pause because of COVID. Well, not on pause, but there's been a reduced amount of shows being filmed. But we're very busy up here. Like we have a ton of Hallmark. That's kind of like everyone I know has done a Hallmark film up here. We have a lot of CW shows, like all of Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, all the superhero shows, Riverdale. They all shoot up here. And then we're getting a lot of like cool Netflix shows. And I think they shot C, that Apple show with Jason Momoa, the first season here. They just shot Space Force, the second season here. There's some cool stuff going on.
Space Force.
Yeah. Did you see it?
I did see it. I don't know if I ever finished it. It was tough because it seemed as though like they weren't trying to be The Office, but it was almost like, I don't know. It was almost like Michael Scott was having an identity crisis 20 years later. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I think I almost finished the first season. I actually really enjoyed it, but it was easy to, compare it to The Office. I was trying to separate it and be like, hey, it's not The Office. Let's just enjoy this for what it is. And I did enjoy it. I thought it was fun. Yeah. But I heard the second season is going to be hilarious.
John Malkovich is great.
Yeah, he's incredible.
So when all those shows are filming there, where like do they hold casting calls there in Vancouver, or is everything still cast out of LA or New York?
We have we have casting directors here. The main casting directors are usually in the States, but we have like a Canadian representative. So we send our tapes in through Canadian casting, but I don't know how much I can say about this, but
okay. Yeah,
I don't know if the American casting I think has generally all the power. So we have to go through a couple more steps. So like if we are liked by Canadian casting, they will send their top picks to the American. Yeah. And we'll be in that. So we have to kind of go through an extra step.
I gotcha.
So I have a Canadian agent and an American manager. So generally, if people are searching in Canada and America, generally I'll try to send my tape in through my American management, just because it'll be easier to be seen if I'm submitted as an American or through my American representation. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting, man. That's kind of crazy how that all works. But
yeah.
So you've worked on, I mean, you were on Riverdale, you were on, the show Daybreak, you were in Power Rangers in the Power Rangers movie. That
was my first project. That was my first film or TV project ever, the Power Rangers one. I had like a one line, but it was cool.
But hey, you're in it though, right?
I'm in it. My name's on the credits. Yeah.
There you go. And then you were in Breach as well with like pretty much all the guys that I named,
right.
Before. So I feel like those are all very different kinds of projects. And I know that for like Breach and like all those films that they do down there, they always film all of those in like 10 days or something like that, like something crazy. So what was that project like?
Crazy. It was kind of a whirlwind. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I don't think anyone really did. We kind of got down there and we're like, oh, we're shooting it this quickly. We have all of this to do. There's a lot of chaos involved, but we kind of just, it was kind of like summer camp. All the cast kind of, we all got along really well. So we kind of just had fun with it and played around. And, that's what it was.
All right, cool. So, but I wanted to talk to you in particular because I had noticed I'd been seeing you posting about this project called Breathe.
Yeah.
Is this your directorial debut?
Yeah, I've directed some theater, and this is my directorial debut of something that I created. So I wrote it and I'm directing it.
Okay, so if we could, can you tell everybody what's it about and what's the message that you're trying to get across with this story?
Yeah, it's about a woman who is struggling with addiction, and it's kind of at the end of her spiral, before she gets the help that she needs. It's kind of the last little bender that she's on, and it's a very abstract film that kind of follows her into the underworld as she's battling her demons and anxiety and figuring out how to get out of this endless loop of addiction.
So for one, what made you want to write that? Because that's deep, that's heavy.
Yeah. I mean, I've been around addiction for a lot of my life. I know quite a few people who have battled with it, and I'm sober myself. So it's something that is very personal to me and have experience in. And yeah, it just kind of came out. I was just kind of writing down, kind of journaling, I guess. And the story kind of just unfolded based on my experience and other people's experiences. And yeah.
Interesting. So is it, so it's a short film, correct?
Yeah, I think it'll be about 20 minutes.
Okay. So when is that going to be, I mean, is it going to hit, film festival circuits and when is that going to be? Yeah.
So we're shooting March 1st. We're just, this morning I was trying to figure out our club location because our nightclub just fell through. So we're scrambling to find another nightclub, but we're shooting March 1st to March 4th. And then we'll be hopefully edited by early spring, and then we'll be submitting to all the film festivals for the rest of the year. And then I'm not sure about what's after that. I have a team that they're kind of in charge of that. I don't know all the logistics stuff. I just like the creative part of it.
Okay. Have you thought about maybe if it goes well, about maybe turning it into a series or something?
Yeah, I've thought about it. I think it would do better as a feature, but I don't know if it would be the same story. I think it could inspire a feature film, but I don't know if it would be the same story.
Okay.
Yeah, I do play a lot with the abstract, and there's a lot of movement based things. We have choreographers, and there's a lot of it's very the whole thing feels like you're in kind of a nightmare, or like you are on MDMA. The whole thing is very much the audience is like thrust into this drug-induced spiral, so they're like kind of immersed into it. And I think that would be a challenging feature to do. I think it works, that kind of abstract feel works better in a short film.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to write?
I've been kind of writing it on and off for the last couple of years because it was originally just going to be a dance piece. I met up with a friend who's a dancer, and we were going to just create this choreography piece around it. And then we were just kind of discussing the feelings and meanings behind it, and kind of unfolded into a narrative. And then we were going to shoot it, and then COVID happened, so we postponed it. And then there's a few months where I was just kind of rewriting it and building on the story, and then we were going to shoot it, got postponed again. So we kept kind of trying and pulling back, and in all that time I was able to kind of rewrite and build out the story. So now it's to a point where it's about 20 pages, and it's a solid narrative, and we're creating a proper film on it.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, man. So you're filming it in a few days, time. What's been the most challenging part for you in the process from writing it to getting everything set to shoot?
Scheduling, to be honest.
Okay.
'Cause I always bite off more than I can chew with things, because I have a theater company, and we started 5 years ago. And our first production, it was supposed to be just like a little black box theater with friends, and it turned into like this full union production. You know what I mean? This massive theater, and it went really well. But I always generally start my first things off, and I'm like, I'll have an idea, and then it snowballs until something way too big. So obviously, my first short film, I picked, crew of 30 people, 100 extras, 2 nightclub locations, all this shit. So now I'm like, why did I could have easily done like a 2-minute short film, 2 guys sitting in a room, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we got like a 4-day. So it's just been scheduling, because short films, we don't have much budget for, right? So it's about scheduling and getting everybody on board that are willing to work for cheap and just enjoy the story. But luckily I have a lot of people that really believe in the project and they love the story. So we have a really passionate team, and it's working out. Every obstacle that comes up, usually, a better path opens up.
Yeah. Now, are you going to be in it or just behind?
Just directing, just writing and directing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to have
I've
like a little
produced
cameo or something like a lot of directors do?
I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Maybe just like in the club dancing.
Yeah.
But I've produced and acted in theater before, and when I'm acting specifically, I like to be immersed into the world. I don't want to know what's going on the outside, so you can just kind of be lost in the character.
Yeah.
So I don't like wearing those two hats. So producing, directing, and writing, those kind of things all go hand in hand because you're still figuring it out from the outside. But putting the actor hat on after directing is a little tough, I think. I just want to focus on the story,
Yeah.
like from an objective point of view.
Yeah. No, for sure. I get that. So what's the biggest difference between producing for a film and producing for theater, would you say?
There's not much difference, actually. It's pretty similar. The only thing I would say is that theater, it's over the course of 3 months, because you have the rehearsal process and then all of the shows so it's like you're continuously doing stuff. Film is kind of like a whirlwind. You get like pre-production happens way quicker, and then shooting is a much shorter time frame. So theater, I think, is just a little bit more drawn out. Film feels a little bit like a whirlwind.
Yeah. Okay. So what else, what other kind of stuff do you like to do with your free time, if you have any?
Yeah, I doing a lot of longboarding and painting, and we're in BC, so it's almost springtime. So when the sun starts coming out, I'm doing a lot of hiking and going on adventures and being outside a lot.
Nice, dude. Now looking through, some of your social media and everything, you seem to be pretty health conscious. Has that been something that you've always had in your mind or in the forefront of your mind, or is that something that's kind of developed, over time, or what?
My mom's a hippie, so I grew up with, all these veggie drinks and tinctures and whatnot. She has like a library of books that say like what illness you have, what emotion that's causing that, or what vitamin or what root will cure this sickness. She's kind of a hippie in that way. So I was always kind of around health. Yeah.
So you're a vegan, correct?
I am vegan. Yeah.
Yeah. So how long have you been a vegan for?
About 5 years, just over 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Did you see what kind of what kind of effects did that have on you physically, mentally, whatever?
The first thing I noticed was energy. I had a lot more energy, and also brain fog. I didn't realize how clouded my mind was, and as soon as I stopped consuming animal products, especially dairy, and red meat, my mind was just a little bit more clear, more aware. You know what I mean? And also just a little bit more connected on a spiritual level, just more connected and conscientious, like very much more aware of, very much more empathetic, very much more aware of how things are affected by your actions. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's definitely feel much more in tuned with the universe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because I was going to say, like, I know, there's been some people that I know that they say first that they start going vegetarian first and then they transition to vegan. I mean, is that kind of what you did, or is that just like?
Yeah, I went, I think I just ate fish and eggs at first. I cut out all dairy and all meat. I just was kind of pescatarian, and I ate eggs once in a while, and then I cut out eggs, and then I cut out fish last. But also from a physical standpoint, because I've always worked out throughout my life, I've always trained, and I gain muscle so much faster being on a plant-based diet. I know that's contrary to what people believe, but it's true. Like, I gain muscle so much quicker because all the protein comes from plants, because the animals are eating the plants, right? That's where they get their nutrients. And then we're eating the meat. It's a secondary protein source, right? So if we go straight to the actual the actual source of protein, we're getting very pure protein, so our body just absorbs it better. So when I'm eating plant proteins, yeah, I gain muscle so much quicker.
Interesting.
There's a good documentary on Netflix called Game Changers, which is about a lot of the world's top athletes, and what who have switched to plant-based and the effects that it's had on them. And people are breaking records, and there's a lot of bodybuilders that are plant-based now. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger is vegan now.
What?
Yeah, he was one of the producers on Game Changers.
Wow. Do you miss like a nice juicy steak or?
No, not at all. I mean,
no?
there's so many, because food is so nostalgic, and I grew up in a hunting family, so I did grow up around a lot of meat. And food is so nostalgic. There are times where you're like, oh, I want that dish because that's what my mom used to make, or my grandma used to make, or whatever. But there's so many plant-based alternatives now that if ever I'm craving like a burger, I just get a Beyond Burger. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But generally, so one of the biggest things that I find is that we have a disconnect between the animal and the food. Like no one, when you're eating bacon, you don't think of that's a pig. You don't visualize the pig. It's bacon, right? Now I've connected animals to the food I eat so much that I can't actually enjoy something knowing what that animal has gone through, especially when it's factory farmed, because of all the horrible things that happen in factory farming. It turns me off, and I don't have any desire to eat it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, man, I can understand that for sure.
Yeah.
So do you think that has changing to a vegan diet, has that, have you found that it's affected at all, like any of your moods? Have you been more up and down, or have you been more stabilized, or have you been happier and think more positively, or any of that kind of stuff?
I think so. It's been a while since I was eating animal products. So, but I think so. Yeah, I definitely remember when I first shifted, I was a lot more energetic, and I'm sure I was happier with that. But yeah, no, I feel, I mean, you know what it is? I try to eat pretty clean, and I feel great all the time. I feel great generally, but I notice that if I do slide off on that, even if I eat deep fried something, like even if I eat like cauliflower wings, like deep fried, or even French fries, I'll really notice that. Like my body's really impacted by that. Or if I have too much sugar, or if I have like donuts, something, I'll get really lethargic, and my mood will drop. So that's the one downfall of eating super healthy, is it's when you enjoy something not healthy, you really feel the effects,
Yeah, you then don't enjoy it later, right?
Yeah, because I've had dairy accidentally over the last however many years. Like sometimes it'll just end up and I'll order something and I'll say no dairy, but they'll put dairy in it by accident or whatever. I have it, and my stomach's like in cramps for like 2 days. It's horrible.
Oh, jeez, dude.
Yeah.
Well, and then I would imagine at that point, would it make sense that you become intolerant of it then? You develop an intolerance of dairy if you go that long without it?
Yeah. I mean, I think most people are intolerant to it just because we're not really meant to drink another animal's milk. We're like the only species that really does that. It's very bizarre. We also drink milk after we're babies. Most creatures don't drink milk after they're adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And also a cow's milk has the enzymes in it in order to turn a baby cow into like a 800-pound full-grown cow. So it's just our bodies, we're all a little bit intolerant to it because we're just not meant to ingest those enzymes. But I definitely will notice it much more now because I haven't had it for a long time. Like our bodies adapt very well as humans. We can really survive off anything. So yeah, I have built up more of an intolerance probably than most people.
Interesting. Now, do you feel that you eat more per per meal or less per meal?
No, about the same. I mean, I eat the same kind of stuff. It's just like
alternatives,
but also like instead of the meat part of it, I'll just have I do eat a lot of mushrooms, like portobello mushrooms. Those are incredible. You can actually cook them so they're like really juicy. They feel like a steak sometimes. I know it sounds wild. You don't like mushrooms?
No, dude.
Oh man.
My brother-in-law tried making he made these like stuffed mushrooms that I don't even remember what he put in it, but it looked really good. And I've never really liked mushrooms, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it because this looks really good. And I took a bite, and I'm a big texture guy.
Right.
Like food wise, it textures everything.
Right.
And just the like, I was expecting it to be a little like a little crispier or a little crunchy,
Right. Right.
and then it was just like mush, and I was like, "Huh."
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
fair.
It like, yeah, it totally messed me up. Like, I was like, I can't do this. And
That's wild. Oyster mushrooms have been making a huge they've been around a lot lately. I feel at restaurants, but I've had like oyster calamari, which has been incredible. Like they use it in place of the squid.
Interesting.
It's really good. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
But that's all deep fried, so that'll be crunchy. That'll be better. If you want to try mushrooms, get deep fried mushrooms.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to try that then. So, and I'm sorry, because I know, I kind of had you on to talk about your career, but I'm very curious about, hearing about that sort of, that lifestyle or that eating style, and because I feel like I always hear people, they talk about whatever, but I never really get to talk to someone and ask the questions that I want to hear. So so thank you for indulging me.
Yeah, of course.
So when did you know that you wanted to be an actor?
Well, I grew up. So my first experience with performing was when I was 3 years old. I went to watch my cousin's dance recital, and I was trying to get on stage the whole time. And my mom was like trying to pull me back. So I was a very active kid. I was always getting into shit. So she just wanted to keep me busy so I would, be distracted. So she put me into dance the next year. And throughout most of my life, I was taking dance classes, or in the summer, there was some musical programs in my town. So I would do a musical in the summer. And then in high school, I did the high school plays, and I was in the drama class. So I was kind of always around some sort of and I was in band and these kind of things, So I was always in some sort of creative arts thing or performing. But when I went to the States, I needed a visa, so I applied for acting school. Not really. Wasn't really set on being an actor. It was just like, that sounds fun. Let's do that. And I got a visa to this acting school. And it wasn't until about the second semester that I really was like, you know what, I'm going to really dive into the craft of this and see what it's about. And I never looked back. I fell in love with it. It was incredible. Just dove into the techniques and reading a lot of plays and reading as much as I can and watching movies. I didn't have a TV growing up, and I didn't really know movies. I hadn't really seen any. So like when I got to about the second semester of school, I would pick a director and I would stay up all night just watching a ton of those movies. You know what I mean? And just watching all these movies that most people my age would have seen when they were kids. And I was just watching as much as possible.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, no, that's kind of what I've done. I'm an actor also, and I absolutely love, and it's funny because sometimes like my friends or even my family, they'll be like, it doesn't bore you, but like I'll just sit there and I'll just watch interviews with some of my favorite actors or favorite directors.
Yeah,
I'll just listen to them talk just over and over and over and over. And
who do you have any favorites you like to listen to?
Well, I mean, listening to Matthew McConaughey is like,
yeah, he's great.
It's like an experience, every time he speaks, because there's always some, the way he talks about things and his outlook on life and different challenges and stuff is always really cool. So I like watching him, but what I also like listening to, do you know who Travis Fimmel is?
Yep.
Yeah. So
from Vikings, right?
Oh yeah. So I actually found my acting studio that I'm currently with through listening to an interview with him.
Oh, cool.
They were talking to him about Raised by Wolves, and he had said that he works with Ivana Chubbuck all the time. And,
oh yeah. So are you in LA?
No. So I'm in the online class with Chris Holder, which is one of her teachers that cool. She has there, and he's been there since like the studio opened up. And so we so I do that, and I also, I'm one of those people that if I watch a movie or if I watch a show and I really like a performance by a certain person, then I just like deep dive into everything that they've done.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? And so yeah, I understand the nerd aspect of it all,
Yeah.
So what do you prefer? Because I know you have a theater background, you have a film background, and a television background. Which medium do you prefer the most, would you say?
I love theater because I'm a big process guy. I like to spend as much time with the character as possible and be able to, turn over every stone, and research. So I like theater because there's a long rehearsal process and you get that chance to explore. Film, I feel, would have that as well. In our own I feel like film usually farther in advance, because TV you can book something, you'd be on set next week, right? And you're just kind of like scrambling. But I feel like film has a longer. I haven't had that experience with film yet where I've got to really dive in, but I feel like I will like film, because I like working on camera. There's an intimacy to it that I love. But if I could combine the amount of process I could do with the film aspect, that would be ideal. So I think film and theater would kind of be my go-tos.
Okay. Who are some of your favorites that you enjoy watching, actor wise?
Mahershala Ali. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Have you seen Swan Song yet?
No, but I want to.
It's great. Yeah,
it's on my list.
He's incredible. I love listening to his interviews too. I love the way he approaches his art. It's incredible. And Viggo Mortensen. Christian Bale, Tom Hardy, all those guys, all the any of those guys, all the powerhouses.
Yeah, I remember watching an interview with Shia LaBeouf talking about filming Lawless.
Oh yeah,
and he said that, like, because Tom Hardy was in that movie as well. He said that set, he goes like that was Tom Hardy's set,
right?
Like, no matter who the director is, and it's like that with every project he's on. It's not that he's like a dick or anything, but his presence is so profound that, like, oh yeah, that he's the alpha on
right
on set. And yeah, man, it would be awesome to work with him. Right now I'm watching Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah.
And I hadn't watched it at all until the new season came out. Then I've been trying to catch up. But man, that show is just killer, and he is killer in that. Tom Hardy.
Yeah, he's incredible. Have you seen Locke?
Locke.
I think it's on Netflix still. It's Locke. I think it's the character's last name, and it's just Tom Hardy in a car. And it's just all these different phone calls he's jumping on as his life is kind of crumbling around him. It's incredible.
Interesting. No, I haven't seen that.
I highly recommend it.
Okay. I actually just watched a film last night that so I also co-host a YouTube show called Attack on Show, and there was a director. It was either the director or the producer reached out to my co-host and asked him if we would review his film on our show. It's called My Dead Ones.
Okay.
It's in Portuguese, and so I've had to watch it with subtitles. So I don't know Portuguese, but dude, this film was like beautifully done. It's super weird, and like I still don't really know exactly how everything happened the way it did. It's like a definitely a psychological thriller, but the main actor that was in it, his name is, I will tell you right now, Nicholas Prattis.
Okay. What's it called? The Dead Ones?
My Dead Ones.
My Dead Ones.
And the trailer for it is actually is on YouTube. I'm not sure if the film is out yet, like fully. I know it's been in some film festivals, but
cool.
But dude, this kid is like, I mean, I think he's like 24 now, but he is killer in that film. Absolutely killer.
Dope. I'll check this out.
Yeah, definitely watch the trailer. My Dead Ones. But yeah, so and I just like, I love performances that are, what I love, which is what I like about Travis Fimmel, is I love seeing performances where so much is being told without having to say anything at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, when they can tell you a whole story just by their look.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I really, really enjoy.
Yeah, same.
So who are some of your favorite directors that you've worked with, or that you would like to work with maybe one day?
Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu.
Hmm.
Love to work with him. I watched he was one of the first directors that I was watching during film school that I kind of latched onto. Scorsese, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. I like up and coming and hungry people.
Hmm.
So I like I mean, established directors would always be amazing, but I like people who are kind of on their first or second project and really passionate about it and excited. You know, there's a magic in that happens.
Yeah, well, because they're not potentially clouded with or jaded, or
Yeah.
they still have that pure lens of doing it solely for the love of it.
Yeah.
And
they haven't fallen into like a pattern of. Actors do the same thing where like people will have their tricks and they'll just keep reusing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a freshness to it when on your first kind of thing, but yeah, I don't know.
So how did Riverdale come about?
Just auditioned for it. I actually auditioned for Archie, the main guy, and then I got a call back for Reggie, which is another one of the. Did you read the comics?
I didn't read the comics. No.
Okay. Yeah, Archie and Reggie are like the two kind of main guys, and then I booked Moose, so I auditioned for Archie, called back for Reggie, and then like a month later they called me. They're like, "Hey, you can play Moose if you want." It's like dope. Yeah, so I just auditioned for it. That was my second thing that I ever booked, which was incredible. I was very grateful for that job. I am grateful for that job because it kind of got me regularly on set and able to learn how set works and how the TV industry is run, and got me my manager. Just got my foot in the door so where I could actually start going out for bigger roles. You know.
Yeah.
It was a good experience.
So what's on the horizon for you?
Definitely moving in more into directing and writing, and producing. But as far as acting goes, like I'm back to just auditioning, man. I mean, the goal would be book another series regular. I'd love to be on, something dark and gritty like Ozark, or also I'd love to be on a period piece. I had my long hair. I had to cut it like a week ago, but I wanted to do a Viking show so bad.
Oh, dude.
Or like Lord of the Rings, like some sort of fantasy thing so badly. But
why'd you cut it?
I'm
Okay.
on a show. I don't know if I want to say I'm on a show right now. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Well, cool, man.
Yeah.
So are you excited?
What about you?
What's that?
What about you? What are you working on right now?
I've got a project that I'm going to be acting and producing on. It's called Locker 42. And right now myself and my producing partners we're in the process of getting financing, the most fun, enjoyable part of the whole freaking process.
Yeah.
Pain in the ass. But yeah, so I mean, we've got a kick-ass script, and there's a few pieces that are in place that, as long as we can meet A and B, then C will come. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Where are you located?
So I'm located in Michigan.
Okay.
One of my other producing partners is also in Michigan, and then my other producing partner is in London, actually. Well, just outside of London. But we're looking to film it in Georgia. And
dope.
And so so it's a crime thriller. It's about two different timelines that you see these stories. You learn more and more how they're connected, and then you see those timelines come to a head at the end. But it's a really, really cool script written by Nolan Bryant, a fellow Canadian, and then Jeff Kapp, who I've known for years. It's a project that if we're able to get it off the ground, it'll be the biggest thing that I will have done. And we've been working on it for the last couple of years. Like I've been attached to it from the inception of the script and the story. And have it's cool. It's really, that's the part that's really cool, is to kind of help create and mold these characters from the very beginning to where they're at now.
Yeah.
And so it'll be a mind-blowing experience to see all of those characters come to life,
Yeah.
but yeah, man. And I've also been getting a lot of voiceover auditions actually. So
Oh, nice. Dope.
so who knows, man? I mean, it's we can say we have this, that, and the other thing going, and then
Yeah, man, I haven't had an audition for so long. I'm like calling
yeah,
people up like, hey, what's going on?
like,
Need an
hey
audition?
man, like you doing a movie or something? Like,
Yeah, but then you get like, 5 auditions in a week, and you're like, this is I can't I don't have time to film this.
yeah, exactly.
Comes and
But
goes.
I will say that is I think that's one of the good things that came out of COVID is the fact that tape auditions are like here to stay.
It's great. Yeah, it's really
Um,
great.
So
I
we'll
actually had
see.
an audition for something in Michigan a few months back. I think it was Michigan, Michigan Shakespeare Festival. Is that Michigan or Minnesota?
I think it's Minnesota.
Okay,
Yeah, I think
they're
it's
the same. They're
Minnesota.
the same to me.
Pretty much, dude. The whole Midwest is pretty much the same, except for Ohio. Not Ohio.
Okay,
They're their own breed. But
right.
um, but yeah. So and then I have a callback for a comedy that'll be coming up here pretty soon. Which I'm super stoked about because I've been wanting to do comedy for a while.
Nice.
That's kind of my even though even my acting coach had told me, he said, you have bad guy eyebrows. I'm like, okay.
I love that.
and,
That's dope.
and I've played like I just back in the fall, I played some emotionally abusive, like cokehead boyfriend, that
Right.
is like ends up getting like super violent with one of the characters and stuff. So like I've played darker characters or that sarcastic asshole guy,
Mhm.
but I
They're
want to
more
do
fun, anyways. It's better to play the villains.
it is.
I mean,
Yeah.
I like playing the villains. I like giving empathy to the bad guys.
Yeah, exactly. But I've done so much of that now like I'd like to do something a little lighter. So
That's fair. Yeah.
we'll see. Plus, I got stuck playing a cop for a long time.
Man, I knew a guy who that was his thing. He wanted to play the cops. He went out and bought cop uniforms. He would wear them to his auditions. This is what he wanted. He's like, I just want cop roles.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm the same as you. I don't want to get pigeonholed in anything, but
No, man. But there's some
have
people
their niche.
exactly. There's some people that it works for them, like
Yeah.
look at guys like The Rock or Ryan Reynolds. Like Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool and everything he does now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it works. People like
Yeah.
it. And he enjoys doing it, obviously. So
Yeah.
so we'll see, man. Yeah, there's a lot to happen. I'm still, you can definitely tell that there's still not even a lot of projects, or there's not as many projects getting made as there used to be. I think people are still kind of leery because of COVID and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping things turn around and open up a little more than they already have, in terms of films coming down the pipeline. So we'll see. But hey, man, before we get going, I want to get into a segment called The Goods. Just a few rapid fires and kind of pick your brain. Well, I guess the last one isn't necessarily rapid fire, but we'll see. So
okay.
All right, number one, if you could build your dream cast of 4 other actors to play alongside yourself, who would they be?
Mahershala Ali. Dead or alive? Or just alive?
Sure, actually, yeah.
I'll say Heath Ledger.
Okay.
This is hard because it changes all the time. Tom Hardy and Christian Bale.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know what movie those people would all be in together, but
it'd be a damn good one though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you basically have a Batman movie.
Exactly. That is a Batman movie.
So yeah. But hey, man, that would work. What is one place that you would love to travel that you haven't been to yet?
Oh man. Everywhere. I wanted to go to Bali in this last December, and it never ended up working out. So I'll say that because that was the most recent thing that's been on my mind. Bali.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had to choose, if somebody gave you the option to either go up into space or to do a deep dive into the ocean?
Ooh. Probably space.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. How
Well,
come?
depends. If you go into the ocean, do we have the technology where we can actually see everything at the bottom? Because it's going to be, way too dark.
Yeah.
I think I'd be kind of scared to be down there. I don't know, but if I want to see everything down there, though, I think space. I think the view in space would be pretty incredible.
Okay.
Dude, I don't want to see
some
some sort of prehistoric kraken at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, dude, there's some crazy shit down there. I mean, have you just look at an anglerfish, dude?
I know. Yeah, those are fucking weird.
Those things are terrifying.
Wasn't it? I think it was. I think in Avatar 2 coming out, didn't they set a record or something for filming in the deepest part, or they went to the deepest part of the ocean, or they've been deeper than we have before? Something to do with Avatar. Do you hear about this?
I didn't hear about it, but it wouldn't surprise me because it's James Cameron.
Yeah, they put some money into this special submarine where they could go deeper than they have. Maybe I'm making this up, but I definitely I read something about this where Avatar 2 specifically, they were doing some weird deep sea shit.
Well, hey, if Avatar, when it comes out, who knows when it comes out, if I don't see some deep sea, I'm gonna come at you. I'm gonna be like,
yeah, you can blame me.
I solely saw this because of this.
Yeah. They're also doing a movie in space though, aren't they? Isn't Elon Musk producing a film like Tom Cruise?
Yeah, dude. They they legitimately want to build a movie studio in space.
Yeah, that's wild.
I'm sorry, but like, isn't that the most like ridiculous? Like, I mean, I guess
that's just to say that they did. There's no other purpose other than
Exactly. That's strictly
there's so much
ego,
more we
right?
could be doing. Yeah, there's so much more we could be doing with that money. Come on.
Like filming in the deepest parts of the ocean. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. And it's funny because like the latest Fast and Furious movie like went to space. It's like if they would have just waited a few years, who knows? Maybe they could have actually done it.
Yeah, exactly.
But can you imagine the insurance policies that would have to be taken out for that?
Right? Yeah,
that's what I think of.
It's Tom Cruise. I heard something. Doesn't he pay his own insurance premiums or whatever it is in order to do his own stunts? Someone told me that recently.
Yeah, and he also became like the executive producer of all of the pretty much any film that he does now, so that way he can do his own stuff.
So he can do his own stuff. Yeah.
Like that one on, what was it, Mission Impossible? Was it Fallout, when he ran and jumped that building and like broke his ankle on the side of the wall?
Yeah, they had to pause production for however long.
It was like so he was told that he was going to be off for like 8 to 12 weeks, and he was back in 4 weeks.
Wow. But even that 4 weeks, that's a lot of money. Yeah, that's a lot of money to put that on hold. Because I would love to do my own stunts, but they never let me. Actually, I have a funny story. So on Daybreak, have you seen Daybreak?
I've seen a little bit of it. Yeah.
Cool. There's like, do you see that truck that do you see the trucks that we had, like the dune buggies and stuff?
Yep.
So one of the golf carts they have all these spikes sticking out front.
Okay.
And there's an episode where my character, I'm hanging on the side of this dune buggy as we zip around into this alleyway, and they skid, and I jump off and like pull out my axe and do this big like this moment. And it was my stunt double that was on it, and we were around the corner, so the director couldn't see us. And my character has a mask on, right? So they can't tell who's who. So I elbowed my stunt double. I was like, hey, let me do one. He's like, all right. So I jump on it. We go around, the cart skids, and my arm gets caught and I fall like face forward, and the spikes are right here, and I land, and my head is like inches away from the spike that like could potentially go through my eye hole, poke my eye out. And director didn't know it was me because I had my mask on. But after that, like I went around, I was like, okay, that's why they don't let us. I almost killed myself.
I did a fight scene for a film a few years ago. And it was one of those things where like we did not have the budgets for stunt performers, you know what I mean? So the guy that was playing the killer was a stunt guy. And so he was our choreographer for everything. And he went through everything with us. And it took us 11 hours to film like a 2.5 or 3 minute fight scene. And we just like went for it. We were out in the woods. The crash pad that we had was like it was like an inch thick. Like it was a complete joke, basically just to make sure the rocks don't stab it or don't
exactly
us up. And I remember looking at him, and I had said, so how, how into this can we go? And he goes, well, I mean, like if I get hurt, it's my fault. So you just go as hard as you want. Like let's just do it and let's just make it look real. I was like, all right, sick. So he ends up at one point, like we're running through the woods and he comes out of nowhere and swings on this tree branch and kicks me in the chest and like drops me. Right. So we did it and it just wasn't looking right. And I'm doing all these takes. I'm flying off, off the sky. I was like, damn, my fucking back. And I'm like, all right. And the director was like, it still doesn't look real. And so I looked at Dakota, was his name. And I said, Dakota, just kick me in the chest. Just do it. Let's just do it. Let's just get over with. And he's like, all right. Boom. Launched me, dude. And it was perfect and it worked. And then
did it wind you?
What's that?
Did you get winded?
No, because like his I think it was his right foot ended up catching me in the shoulder.
Okay.
So it was just kind of like right in here. And so it kind of launched me back. But then the one that was really crazy was, well, first I had to catch him while he was trying to do a flying knee. I had to catch him in midair.
Right.
And just boom, drop him to the ground. But the one that was what ended up giving me a concussion was he had me in this like makeshift, like the kind of crappy arm bar. But then he used that as leverage to swing his legs up, put his legs around my neck,
right,
and then swing his body to the other side of mine, and then boom, throw me to the ground. Well, we were doing that over and over, and it got to the point where I looked at the director. I said, I have like 2 more takes in me, and that's it. But you better get it.
And that's crazy. Do you fight? Do you do like MMA or anything?
No, I don't. And so it was a great learning experience. I mean, I've always grown up, like my dad and my brother have always made sure I knew how to fight.
Right.
And, and they show me form and my brother was in the military. And so he's shown me a few things, but learning that and learning how to fake fight for camera.
Yeah. It's very different, right?
Very different.
Yeah.
And so Dakota was he was awesome in teaching, in teaching me that day, going through everything. And I was asking 100 million questions, but it ended up being a sick. And honestly, like there's not too many fight scenes out there, in my opinion, that top that one for like a low budget indie film.
Yeah. Dope, man. That's awesome.
But yeah, man. But stunts have always been something that I want to do. But the fact that Tom Cruise like learned how to fly a helicopter for Mission Impossible, and was flying it, like dodging freaking mountains and like cliffs and stuff.
That's crazy.
I don't get it, man. That's like a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level.
One day we'll be there.
Very true. All right. Final question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep yourself grounded?
How do I keep myself grounded? I'm pretty naturally grounded. I mean, I'm from a pretty small town. Just being here I never thought I'd just even be an actor. I didn't have really my family. Okay, I'll tell you a story. So when I was in LA, when I was in school, I was invited to some party. I can't remember what it was. There's some gallery or something. I was talking to this girl there, and she's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm in acting school." And she's like, "Oh, is your family, are they famous or are they in the industry?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Oh, are you rich?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Oh, you'll never make it." But you know what? It's actually, there's some truth to that. Like the more I've worked, the more I realize how many people are either their families are in the industry, or they're from a fairly wealthy background. The people that really just want it and work their ass off, there's less of us that, get in. So just the fact of being able to work, I'm so incredibly grateful that, I guess gratitude is the thing that just, reminds you to not think you're too special. So I have seen that a lot on set. There's a lot of actors that think they're real special. I'm sure you've had that experience as well, right?
Yes, I have. And it's, and it's always funny to see like them post about stuff that, you end up looking and you're like, I didn't know anybody really cared to know that.
Yeah.
It's like, because they think any little detail about their life is the most, is the most interesting thing that you'll read in the day.
Yeah, exactly. So I always hated posting on social media, and it's something that I'm like trying to get better at, because I just don't think I'm interesting. I don't even like interviews. I don't think anyone wants to hear what I have to say. I don't find myself very interesting. But I'm learning how to do those kind of things.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I can't stand social media either. I mean, the only reason I really have it is because of this and my career. But
right.
But really, I mean, it is one of those things that I think what I've come to find is that if you're just genuine, people will connect, and honestly, like, I just wanted to have a conversation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's, when you say that you're not interesting, or that you don't think you're interesting, well, I think you are. And it's not because you're an actor, or not because, of this, that, and the other. It's because, well, everybody is interesting, and everybody has an interesting background, because it's different than yours. And so
that's true. Yeah, it's very true.
And so to me, like, that's why I like having these conversations, is because I get to know you a little bit more on, and my goal is, whenever I have somebody on, is I have the hope that they almost forget that we're recording. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that it's for a podcast, that I just want to talk and kind of shoot the shit. So, well, hey man, I appreciate you being here. I know I told you that we'd go an hour. So,
this has been great, man. I really thank you for having me. It's been awesome.
Yeah, man. And I look forward to seeing more that you do. And
likewise.
And I also look forward to seeing Breathe as well, because that sounds really, really cool. So
thanks, man, and good luck with your film.
Thank you, brother.
Hope you get the financing.
God knows, we'll see. Thanks, man.
Cool.
And that is all. That's all she wrote. That's all we got. Thank you, Cody, for being here. Really appreciate it. And it was a great conversation, and it was very laid back and very chill, and I really appreciate him taking the time, and I appreciate you taking the time to listening as well. So yeah, that's all I got. We'll see you next week.